My Vampire Shorts. Whispers from the Bayou. In the heart of Louisiana, deep in the twisting labyrinths of the Bayou, there lived a man named Trevor. He was a wanderer by nature, restless and looking for something beyond the monotony of everyday life. The swamp called to him in ways that no city ever had, its murky waters and thick canopies of moss-laden trees offering him a sense of freedom, a sense of purpose, even though he didn't know it yet. Trevor had heard of the old voodoo man, a figure shrouded in whispers and half-forgotten stories. Some said he was immortal, others that he was a servant of spirits darker than the night itself. This voodoo man, known only as Marcellus, lived on the edge of the bayou, in a small shack surrounded by ritual bones, animal pelts, and a lingering sense of ancient power. The locals spoke of him in hushed tones, warning travelers to stay clear of his domain. For Marcellus wasn't just a man, he was a conduit to forces beyond human comprehension. Trevor, curious and seeking something more than what life had offered him, found his way to Marcellus's hut one warm evening, with the stars flickering above the swamp like silent witnesses. The door creaked open, revealing the dark, cluttered interior where Marcellus sat, his face hidden beneath a hood of raven feathers, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "What brings you here, boy?" Marcellus's voice was deep, ancient, and filled with the weight of untold secrets. "I've heard your name spoken in shadows," Trevor replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "They say you have power, power beyond this world. I want to know what you can do." The old voodoo man studied Trevor for a long time, his gaze cutting through the young man's soul. Then, as if deciding something within himself, Marcellus spoke. "You seek power, but power comes with a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Trevor, eager to escape the mediocrity of his life, nodded without hesitation. "I'll pay any price." Marcellus smiled, a knowing look in his eyes. "Then you will serve the Shadow Man, the one who resides in the realm beyond the living. He craves souls. You will help me collect them, and in return I will teach you the ways of voodoo, the ways of the spirit world. You will become a master of power beyond your comprehension." Trevor, consumed by greed and hunger for power, agreed. Marcellus handed him an old tattered book, its pages yellowed with age. "Learn this. We will begin tomorrow." Over the next few weeks, Trevor worked alongside Marcellus, learning the rituals, the incantations, the way to summon the spirits, and most importantly, how to trap souls. Marcellus taught him how to bind the souls of the living to objects, bones, candles, even blood-stained stones, that would allow them to be sent to the Shadow Man. The souls were then offered as sacrifices, and the power they contained would strengthen their voodoo abilities. But as Trevor learned, he began to grow restless. He realized that he was only a tool in Marcellus's hands, a servant to the Shadow Man, who was nothing more than a distant, faceless entity. The more souls they collected, the more power Marcellus seemed to gain. But Trevor, despite his growing abilities, was still nothing more than an apprentice, a voodoo hand, as Marcellus called him. Trevor's hunger for power grew. He wanted more than to serve someone else. He wanted to be the master, to control the power for himself. So one night, as Marcellus slept, Trevor performed a forbidden ritual, one that had been kept secret in the pages of the old book. He twisted the incantations, binding the soul of a dying animal into his own body, and for the first time, he felt true power surge through his veins. His senses sharpened, and his spirit stretched beyond the physical realm. He had become something more, something dangerous. He ran from Marcellus, fleeing deep into the bayou, far from the prying eyes of those who would serve the voodoo man. Trevor knew that he would have to lay low, for Marcellus would not forgive him for breaking their deal. But now, with his newfound power, Trevor felt invincible. He had become a voodoo hand, a beginner who was still learning, but now with the ability to control life and death. For months, Trevor hid in the bayou, performing rituals in secret and practicing his craft. He summoned spirits, made deals with the dead, and began collecting souls of his own. He would find drifters, lost souls, and wanderers in the bayou, luring them deeper into the swamp. Sometimes he would use his voice to speak to them, whispering promises of riches, love, or even eternal life. The swamp was alive with his magic, and the air itself seemed to pulse with dark energy as he led his victims to their doom. Once they were far enough into the swamp, Trevor would perform the rituals he had learned from Marcellus, trapping the souls in trinkets or talismans. He would bind them with the same dark incantations, offering them to the Shadow Man. Each soul he took made him stronger, more powerful. He could feel his voodoo abilities growing with every soul he collected, and he was no longer just an apprentice. He was becoming something more, something dangerous. But it was not to last. Marcellus, furious at Trevor's betrayal, tracked him down to the heart of the bayou. The old voodoo man confronted Trevor one stormy night, his eyes filled with rage and disappointment. "You foolish boy," he spat. "You dare to defy me and take the power for yourself? You will regret this." Trevor, now feeling the weight of his own ambition, stood tall and defiantly. "I have no need for you, Marcellus. I will be the master now." But Marcellus was not a man to be trifled with. With a single incantation, he cursed Trevor, sealing him to the bayou forever. "You want to be a master? Very well, I'll give you the power you seek, but at a cost. You will never know peace. You will never know rest. You will become a bloodsucker, a creature of the night who must feed on the souls of the living to sustain your own existence. And you will be forever bound to the swamp, your magic only growing through the souls you steal." Trevor fell to his knees, the curse taking hold of him like 1,000 needles in his veins. His body twisted, his senses heightened to an unbearable degree, and his thirst for souls became insatiable. He was no longer a voodoo hand. He was something darker, a creature who would never know rest. The curse of the bloodsucker had claimed him. Now Trevor lives in the bayou, hidden from the world, luring the lost and the desperate to their deaths. He whispers to them from the shadows, promising them everything they desire, only to drag them deeper into the swamp, where their souls will be trapped forever. The souls he takes feed his magic, make him stronger, but they also condemn him to an eternity of torment. For he can never stop collecting, never stop feeding. The bayou is his prison, and the sea of souls, as it has come to be called, is where he waits, forever hidden, forever hungry, always whispering, always waiting for the next soul to claim. If you enjoyed this story, please like and share.